Hey guys, it has been a minute since I have made a video for YouTube. I thought I'd just hop on here to answer a few questions I've been receiving either from friends and family or siblings of friends and family. I've even got a few DMs with these questions. I thought I'd just hop on YouTube and answer some of them, and maybe I'll help another person out there. But just to introduce myself, if this is your first time here, hi, I'm Kayla. I recently graduated from Stellenbosch University with a Bachelor of Laws degree, or it's more commonly known as an LLB. And yeah, I think that's all you need to know to listen to the rest of this video. But yeah, everything I'm saying is from my own personal research and experience, so take everything with a grain of salt, but I'm just filming this so that I can provide more information to anyone who is wondering. A very popular question I get, it's even a question I wondered when I was in school, was which subjects should you take? What should your marks look like if you'd like to get accepted into law? So I wouldn't say there's a specific subject. Obviously in South Africa you take your two languages, English home language and Afrikaans first additional language. And then I took pure maths, physical sciences, life sciences, history, and then life orientation. So I'd say what universities mostly look at are your languages. Try to get 75% and above for your languages at least. Focus on doing well overall. Try and get a 75% and above average overall. 70% minimum, but try and aim for 75%. Do well for your languages. A lot of law, 80% of law is reading and writing, which I didn't know. I knew it was a lot of reading, but I did not realize how much writing you do in law. That's like all I did. All my assignments were just these lengthy essays I had to write. So yeah, I would say focus on your languages. And if you're in grade 9 and you're wondering which subjects to take, there aren't really like specific subjects. Like I know if you study science, you know, you want to take physical sciences and life sciences and pure math. But for law, I'd say, I took pure math, history, life sciences, and physical sciences. So yeah, I was more like science-based, but I still went into law. I would say history is a really good subject to take if your school offers it. I think history prepared me quite well for law, just because you had to write these really long essays and have to deal with these really long articles and sources that you had to read. If you're in grade 9 and you know you want to study law and you're thinking of which subject to take to help you, I would highly recommend history. Obviously check the university you're applying to's minimum requirements. I studied at Stellenbosch and I know, like, I took science, but I have friends who took math, lit and art, didn't take history, and they studied law with me. I think just focus on getting a good overall average and do well in your languages. That is my biggest tip. Another question I get is, what is the difference between BAc LLB, BCom law, BA law, and LLB? Which I can say when I was applying for law, I had no idea what the difference was. I just knew BCom law, you know, businessy, and I didn't even know what BAc LLB was. I just applied for LLB because it's the shortest route. It's 4 years, whereas if you go BCom law LLB, it's 5 years. So I saw 4 years. I was like, that's the shortest. I'm doing that. A quick run through. You can obviously Google this and get more information for yourself, but a quick run through. BAc LLB is essentially an accounting, like a BCom accounting degree and a law degree combined. So instead of studying those two degrees separately, which would take 7 years, if you do an undergrad BAc degree and an LLB degree, that would be 7 years. You do it in 5 years. So it is very intense. So yeah, I'd say if you are someone who can't choose between accounting and law, it's a good option. If I'm not mistaken, only Stellenbosch University offers this degree. And they also only take a very limited amount of students. It's highly competitive. BCom law essentially is a BCom degree with law modules. So you do BCom modules. I didn't do BCom, so I don't know what they are, but like tax, financial accounting, economics, all of that. So you do BCom law, which is 3 years, and then you do a postgrad LLB, which is 2 years. So that would be 5 years in total. So I'd say this is good if you know you want to go into corporate law or commercial law and, you know, go into that area. I'd say it's a good degree. But even if you don't study BCom law and you just study the normal undergraduate LLB, which I did, you can still go into corporate law. So you don't need to. If you want more business knowledge, I would say that's a good option. BA law, it's BA modules with law modules. So I would say BA Law and LLB are very similar, because when I was in first and second year, I took BA modules. So I took Latin and political science, and then in second year you drop one. So I dropped Latin, I kept political science, and then third year and fourth year I did no BA modules. Whereas if you do BA Law, you obviously have a BA Law degree that you do for 3 years, and that's a mix of BA modules and law modules. And then you do your postgrad LLB, which is just law. So it's very similar. LLB, you don't do as many BA Law modules because your degree is 4 years and you're not doing it over 5 years, so you don't take as many BA modules. LLB in itself, there's the undergraduate LLB, which you do like straight after school, which is 4 years. And then there's also postgrad LLB. So there's the 2-year one, which you can do if you did BCom law or BA law. You do the postgrad LLB, which is 2 years. But there's also a 3-year LLB, which you do if you did a different degree. So now you studied engineering or you studied international business, like any other degree. Then you can apply for the 3-year LLB, so you don't have to do the 4-year undergrad LLB because you already have a degree. You can go do the 3-year postgrad LLB, so it cuts 1 year shorter. I don't really know how that works, but yeah, there is that option if you want to study law after you've already done another degree. Oh yes, a lot of science students do that. A summary, because that was a big question. BAC LLB, accounting and law degree in one. BCom law LLB, so first BCom law is what you apply for after matric. That's if you want to take business modules like economics and tax and accounting. BA law, BA modules with law, and then you do your postgrad LLB after that. 5 years. LLB undergrad, 4 years. You do postgrad. If you did an undergraduate degree, either if it's BA law, BCom law, or a completely different degree, you can still do postgrad LLB. I hope that makes sense. Another question I actually get quite often is, what law did you study? What type of law did you study? And I always find that so interesting. When you study a Bachelor of Laws or an LLB, you don't necessarily pick one type of law and study that. You study basically everything. You know, there are obviously super specialized ones like space law or forensic law that you don't do, or at least Stellenbosch weren't offered like modules like that, but you do basically everything else. I mean, we did family law, we did property law, criminal law, international law, law of delict, so like personal injury, procurement law, and the government buys goods and services from the public. There's internet law. So you don't study like one specific type, you do basically everything. So I picked, you don't necessarily study one type of law. You can like kind of specialize, because you can pick electives and you pick out of certain subjects which one you'd like to take. Like I took advanced labor law, so I already had done labor law in my 3rd year, but I took advanced labor law in my last semester. So yeah, but you don't just do one type, you basically do everything. And once you've graduated, you're not like limited. I didn't do internet law, I didn't pick it as an elective, but it doesn't mean I can't go and work in that field. Honestly, what you learn from studying law is how to think and how to interpret legislation. So yeah, if you didn't take a certain elective, it doesn't mean you can't work in that field. So yeah, and there's a lot of options out there. I mean, not everyone wants to do the traditional route and become an admitted attorney and, you know, go to court and work in the courtroom. Some people go into compliance, or they go into risk management. I have a friend who's in fraud investigation and she studied law. So there really is a lot you can do with a law degree. So don't feel disheartened if you're studying and you realize, you know what, I actually don't like court. I personally didn't have a good experience when I went to court for the first time. I was like, I don't know if I can do this. So yeah, there's a lot of other options out there. I know a lot of people talk about how law is oversaturated and it's so hard finding a job. Honestly, it's hard finding a job no matter what you study. And even if it is oversaturated, it is a very respected degree, you know, so don't be discouraged when people are telling you it's oversaturated and you shouldn't study law. And like, if it's something you want to do, pursue it. Another tip I'd give you, if you are still in high school and you know, you haven't applied for uni yet and you're still considering, is job shadow a lawyer or a candidate attorney. Like, just if you can and you have the resources to do it, I think it's a really good idea, just so you can get a feel of what it's really about. Because for me, I wanted to study law because I watched How to Get Away with Murder. That inspired me to go study law. So yeah, it's nothing like that at all. It's a lot more reading, it's a lot more writing. A general warning, just so that, you know, at least I told you. Just keep in mind that studying law involves a lot of reading. You're reading long cases, long textbooks, long journal articles. It's just a lot of reading, so please keep that in mind. And it's also a lot of writing. Like 90% of my degree was writing long essays and doing research. Just keep that in mind. It's a lot of reading and writing. I did not know that. I don't know what I thought law was. I suspected the reading, but I didn't suspect how much I'd be writing and how many essays I'd have to write. So yeah, just keep that in mind. I hope this video helped. A bit all over the place. I tried to make some notes and make it seem logical, but yeah, there's a lot. If you have any other questions, you can leave a comment. I will try to reply as soon as I can. I hope you guys have a lovely day further. And to all the matriculants who are writing finals, good luck. You've got this. Just believe in yourself and work hard. Self-discipline will take you a long way. Thanks for watching. Bye.